Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi. Legendary video, not really about a build today, about tactics and strategy. So we're in District Union, group of 4, waiting for the 4th to get in here. On legendaries, you just don't want to outkick the coverage. I sped up some of this footage 1.25. I don't have to speed it up a bunch, but just trying to keep it under a half hour. And so if you've never done any legendary, I would suggest that you just don't run forward. It's not a heroic, it's not challenging, it's legendary. What makes it legendary? Because it's filled with all yellows? No. If it was filled with all yellows, actually it'd be easier because you would just have a bunch of builds with improvised gear with 12 or 13% reduction to elites. And so you would just walk through these kind of things. What makes it legendary is everyone has a little more health. They do a little bit more damage, and the reds and purple can do damage to you. So there's a wide variety and a big mix. But for sure, you have to be in cover. I think I watched one video of a person doing a legendary solo, and they were like, you have 2 seconds. I apologize for not remembering who it was, but I would agree. You have 2 seconds to pop up and shoot and go down. Unless you're in the back and you're doing long ranged and you have a shield and you have that kind of build. So after the first wave, they drop a copter full of rushers and drone people. A lot of people that come in the channel and see that I'm running Vile Jammer say they run Eclipse. Eclipse protocol is fantastic in lower level situations where you don't need any healing, you don't need any haste, and when you kill someone, it's going to cascade throughout the mobs. In a legendary, you might not be the person getting all the kills, so that defeats the purpose of some of those backpack situations as well. You're going to be in a situation where you're not always killing people. Now, if you're the person, when you look back through the legendary and you're getting the most kills by far, then yeah, maybe the backpack is the right thing for you because you're going to be picking up all that stuff. That backpack is the exotic backpack is a powerful build. But for the most part, you can see we're doing well. We're almost done with this first part, and we're staying back. But the lowest level watch guy moves forward. And this is person after person. And maybe you do it because you think, you need to get more ammo on the target or whatever. But really all it does is it gets you killed. And then you're in a position where we can't really res you. This person right here, they start off, they go down a little bit, and they end up being, top notch at the end. That's a person that evolved just in this one legendary. Their gameplay evolved. They're never gonna have a problem in a legendary again because they're gonna know what to do. There are a bunch of different ways to play this. You can go from the other side. You can have a bunch of different builds. But essentially, you have 3 waves. The last wave's filled with chungas. The chungas have a hive, which will put a bleed on you, and then you'll just bleed out if they do enough damage. Against Black Tusk, because they have technology, a jammer pulse. Someone in the group should have a jammer pulse because it puts down dogs, it puts down drones. And so knowing the fight, when to equip it, when not to equip it, the second wave of this first part, you need a jammer pulse. This next section, you don't need a jammer pulse. Although, with the Vile Jammer build, you're just going to AoE damage, and you're AoE damaging their healing pots. But I switched to a DPS build. This is my DPS skill build, and I'm putting Artificer, so my turret's going to hit hard. I noticed someone else in the group has a turret, so if they can figure out to put their turret near mine, it's going to be fine. And I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to concentrate on getting... And there's that person again, they go down. I'm going to concentrate on getting that healing hive. Now that person can play with us. They just got to change their play style. So there's a guy named Sloth Moods that had a video, and they talked about, you know, through this whole thing, you're progressing, you're a superstar. And then when you get in these legendaries, you're not a superstar anymore. And so that's kind of the bridge that a lot of people have to cross. Are there some builds better than others? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I see people do a bunch of different stuff all the time. I've seen maybe 3 or 4 players in their builds that have been just exemplar. That they, you know, usually those are tank builds, and usually they go off by themselves and they don't die. I was going to put a video of me doing Legendary Summit. We were in a group with 6 directives. Why would you put 6 directives? You get things for 7 directives. There's 10 possible. You get challenge points for 2 directives, 4 directives, 7 directives, not 6 directives. So we had 6 directives, and we could never get past the first floor that we were doing it. And so we just kept dying. I don't see what the fun of that, but I stayed in it because I'm down for that. And when I went to just my tank build, or if I played way in the back, I could survive. But then at that point, am I going to be one of those people that survive? I'm just not. I just run and go, let myself get killed, basically. So you can see that the Chungas are pushing. This is one of your first DPS checks. Do they get past where Lunatic is? That's really, if they come up this far, you don't have enough DPS. They don't. Now they're getting healed. Do we have to kill all the healing pots? No, but it just, we have enough damage to put down these Chungas. It just takes a little longer. Sometimes I make the mistake, or sometimes I go for that healing pot so other people won't do it because they get annoyed that they can't put the thing down. I've never seen it where continually, if you don't focus fire, when you focus fire, you're going to put any mob down. I don't care what kind of healing they have. I don't care what kind of healing you have in the game. I've seen it very hard in a 4-man that one person can just survive the entire focus of all the enemies. That'd be a good experiment to do. You know, have 3 guys healing, see if you could keep them up. But long story short, and I've told you this before, part of these games, I'm switching to, oh, that was almost a really old build I used to run. I have a grenade build that has the little frogger and then that backpack, and then I grenade all the time. All right, so we're doing this next section. I'm not going to show you every single section. This is another good indication. If you get pushed on by those rushers, you know you don't have enough DPS. We don't get pushed on them. We put them down pretty fast. So no matter what the watch level is of the people, you can tell you have a fairly good group. Now, it's just going to be about tactics. Are we going to survive? Do the other group members have the tactics? What makes this section hard is after you kill this first wave, when you move forward, you spawn a bunch of chargers, drone people, and grenadiers. And so that's what becomes hard. And that guy goes down again for the 3rd time. And so a difference between Eclipse Protocol and the build that I have Creeping Death, and I have Vile Jammer. It absolutely is going to tag everyone when they come up there. And so part of the main thing that a pulse is supposed to do, it's supposed to illuminate all the enemies. So it's doing a couple of things. And once you get one grenade on you, run. But you're supposed to illuminate the enemies, and believe in my strategy in a game, I'd like to have this skill also put damage on people. And I also want to knock out technology. So a vial jammer does several things with one situation. I guess that multifaceted, it's hard for me to take that out of my inventory. And this is going to seem counterintuitive, but I used to run Blinder, and Ultimate Shield had a great video. Okay, I skipped the dogs. The dogs are easy. Let me focus on this part, and I'll talk about Ultimate Shield's video here in a second. So I have my build, my max skill DPS build. I have a hive out there. And what the hive does is my build gets more powerful as I put status effects on people. And everyone in the group has been playing within themselves. And what I realize is once we kill the first wave, then the dogs are going to start. And then once we get, you know, on the dogs, the third wave's going to come. The folks are going to come out of that door back there. And that's going to set up what happens next. This build has a little bit of self-healing, so I probably should use a heal kit, but that's just like, I'm dumb, I don't. At this point, that guy that kept dying has quit the group. Instead of just leaving, they like rage quit. You should just leave the group. Don't just quit. Please. Because what it does is when you stay in the group like that, it keeps the dynamics scaled to 4 instead of 3. So here's my big mistake. I'm trying to set up for the next. That's Caesar whining. Come over here and get my shock ammo. And I'm going to set up for the next wave. Again, why am I going forward? So I wait a second to let my hive tick up. And what I do is I don't, again, go. Look at all the things I do wrong there. I go forward. So I instantly switch to the folks I'm with. And this is why I really did this video. These two people right here ended up taking all this on. They're in a legendary. It's the third wave. It spawned a lot of people and drones and everything. They don't rush to get me, which they shouldn't. They consolidate their position. They get near each other. There's a Johnny 5 that's up there. This is just another tip. When you're a technician person, one of the skills you have are these grenades that can temporarily it damages and takes out those skill things. It'd be great for Johnny 5. I think in the chat I'm telling them, hey, throw a grenade. And I really want the tech guy to throw a grenade. But what their play is fine. I switch back to me. There's me. That's me. That's my fault. That's my crappy gameplay. So that guy goes down, but Lunatic's right there to pick him back up. Let me, I'm just going to call him Polly. And Polly's a low-level guy, but those two are playing great. That Johnny 5, though, is a pain in the ass. And here's what I whine about in all these videos. Availability is more important than capability because, look, I'm capable. We have one person that's supposed to take out the... I have a whole build to take out Johnny 5s, but I'm dead because I went too forward, because I got careless, I got overconfident. I didn't use the cover-to-cover system. And I should have been, well, I don't have a pulse on this guy, but I'm trying to, you know, I have DPS. Again, look, those guys don't stay. They get next to each other a little bit. They can, and they move around. So they're fantastic. This is kudos to these two people. Interchange positions. And now Polly will return in favor to Lunatic. Again, this is great team play. We're in a pickup group. We're not talking. So after this, if there is an after this, or am I just teasing you? We're going to wipe after this. I don't know. That Johnny 5, though. Now that guy finally drops. So that's all okay. I don't mind if you're playing, but a long time ago, a couple of commenters said, you might not know, they might have a second language problem. And that's a good, he might have had a second language. He or she might be 14 years old. He or she might be 8 years old. He or she might be 70 years old. It doesn't matter. They're allowed to play how they want. I would just say that if you are getting into a legendary, if you just take it a little bit slow, you'll be fine. So they're getting me up. This is a fantastic job by those guys. And so they basically do that last wave by themselves. And a four-man, scaled for four-man, those two do it. So that's kudos to them. I'm going to switch to my red build. That's kind of like a healer build, but I can do damage. And I may have put the bear face on. Yeah, so it pushes the badger face, bear face on them too. Now, what I didn't tell them in the chat is I threw my healing hive back there. They were supposed to fight him back there. Polly gets smoked because I didn't give them good enough directions. At this point, they've made me the group leader. And so I get him up and I say, from now on, you just stay next to Polly, stay next to wherever Lunatic goes. Skip that next section. We got to this. This is the most important part of these two rooms are when the chungers are coming. Again, it's a DPS race. If they get to the pool table and beyond, you don't have enough DPS. At this point, we've added a guy with a artillery turret. And look, the two guys I was with are just here with me. So I throw the healing forward. I'm going to have the little roller healer. It's going to come back up. We're doing okay. And what I've told Polly and everyone is, not the guy we had, but if you have to pull back further in the room, and you're gauging this the whole time, you just don't want to give them that territory. Look at that, picking up the teammate. Those guys could run legendaries all the time. If they're in a halfway decent group, they're going to be fine. I put the heals out. And we keep putting them. This build is meant to withstand that hive action. And so we didn't let them get back up. See, they're still back behind the pool table. That's great. So they came. This is like the middle. If you think about like a valley, mostly either you kill them first or you get pushed on. You very rarely have them come up and push them back. I've told you before, I'm going to fight down here. Running up there, unless it's a really high-powered group, I don't see the benefit of it. I'm going to die a bunch of times down here. And that's okay, because what that probably means then is I'm drawing some aggro, which is okay. I'm taking the aggro off of them. And usually this is what happens when someone goes up there. So now I'm deciding, should I go up there and heal them, or, you know, are they going to take care of it? And I kind of look, so I decide, okay, I'm going to go up there. One of the benefits of having skill builds is you can still do damage while doing other things. So I'm thinking, and as I go up there, I can see lunatics helping Polly, so I go back to my spot. The problem of staying down here by yourself is you could catch a stray. And I catch a couple strays, and it gets dicey for a moment, but lunatic ends up saving the day. Polly comes down to try to res me. The problem with dying outright is you lose your skills. So sometimes when you're just down, so this is kind of a thing to consider. If there's a skilled person in your group and they get injured and their skills are still up, you want to res them so their skills stay up the whole time. Now, in the case that I'm away from everyone, TFS, because you're far away from us. And so this is the thing about the Chungas. You can see my health is low, but my armor's high. And the bleed attacks your health. So I'm not fully healed up yet. I end up going down. One of the last things I'm going to show you is this room can be hard sometimes. Again, shaping the battlefield. I have a video like 2 or 3 videos ago where I have a person that's constantly pushing. But Mr. Cool is up there. He has his artillery. He's doing that to spot, but the other folks stay kind of relatively back. If you have that turret over on the right side, it kind of protects the flank. But I'm not really worried. These guys know how to pick each other up. And I have a jam repulse build because I'm going to suppress the drones as much as I can. Can't reach them from here, so every once in a while you have to run up to that pole and then run back. That pole is semi-exposed, so you go there and come back. All these positions are exposed the further you go. That's why you have to have a turret up on the right to keep that flank so people don't come and get these guys on this side. So I'm going to come up here, and I am going to pulse. Then I'm going to run back like a chicken. So these are some of the tactics that you can use. I want to thank everyone for supporting the channel, for liking, commenting, subscribing, for sharing all this. I really appreciate it. We're at 308 as of today subscribers. Thank you very much. Have new people on, they comment. And so I hope when I'm replying to you, I'm not trying to suppress your comments. I'm telling you why I'm doing the stuff I'm doing. I've done, and I'm not saying that I've done everything and seen everything. I certainly haven't. I'm just trying to share why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I think these things are the best. There's a lot of factors when you're a group. Am I in a group or am I solo? That changes your build. What is the purpose of my build? If I'm doing legendaries, I may be in cover more, so that's going to change what my build is. If I'm in a group and I have the backpack that when I get a kill, I get extra stuff, am I getting enough kills to need that backpack? I want to show the first parts of this fight because this fight, again, you can fight it however you want, but I fight it generally clockwise from the beginning. So we're going to fight here. You're going to kill the ads that go too far deep, but then you're going to push around counterclockwise. This is my red build. You're going to need DPS on the boss at the end. And weapon DPS is really kind of what you need to break the backpack. You can break it a bunch of different ways. I've used the demolisher and different things, but the fastest is that I've seen is when people have high DPS. I'm not a super high DPS, but I think in this build I got 4 or 5 reds. This might be my AR build of it. I don't know. I've talked about having some builds that are a chassis that and then you flip around to this point. So when the first spawn you're taking care of, the next spawn's going to come over to the right and they're going to jump off that ledge. In this build, because it's survivalist, my grenades are flame, so I'm going to throw grenades out there because they have flame. So I'm going to put as many status effects and I'm putting DPS on them. Here's the difference between this build and a skill build of this. I kill this guy with the shotgun. That normally takes a lot more. Might take a whole clip to kill him with a skill build. There's going to be one more wave that comes from the right. So I'm going to start throwing grenades up there. I'm going to try to throw one up there. And I'm going to try to throw one long. So that's the third wave. The fourth wave includes the boss. So you see from our position, we started over there counterclockwise all the way, and now we're facing back to the place where we got out of. I'm not going to show you the whole boss fight. It's very boring, but we go through here. And you see Conti, or Mr. Cool changed his build. So throwing more grenades, and then we'll get to the boss fight. So thanks again, everyone. Just some tactics that apply to any legendary. When I die, I tend to think about what are the things I did wrong and what can I do right. Here's the final boss going down. Thanks again, everyone. Talk to you soon. Ronan Kazi.